Ready? We are pushed to live, and
Yeah,
it
let's go.
says we are live.
Yes.
We are live. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday.
Yes.
You are tuned into Transitions, Life, Lesson, and Legacy with Hyacinth Henderson
And
and.
Robert Henderson Jr.
Da,
Yes,
da,
I
da,
am.
da.
Hey, listen, if you all just tuned in, I am Robert Henderson Jr. I'm Heisey's father. I started this company back 30 years ago. It's probably more than probably 37 years. Time is flying by. And I'm the president, founder, CEO of the Henderson Financial Group. And this is my daughter, Hyacinth Henderson. We've been working together. We've been working together about 22 years. And I'm so proud to have her as my succession plan, even though I'm doing another 30 years. So I guess she's going to be, let me see, for you be 72 years old.
And we'll still be working together.
Yeah.
How lovely is
I mean,
that?
Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger, Warren Buffett is 92 and Charlie Munger is 97.
Okay, now.
And they still like just
Rocking and
jokes.
rolling.
Oh my goodness. That money make you do that. You know that.
Yes.
If you got money, man.
If not, we'll be
You
sad.
can exercise, you can get massages. This is Miami Spa Month. Do you still do that? Oh, that's right. You got. Matter of fact, you set the office up for a spot coming up. Goddess Month or whatever.
Do I still do that? Absolutely. Why wouldn't I do that?
Oh my goodness, man! You get that fan on me. I feel like I'm cold now.
I feel like the table. I feel like our whole setup is different because I don't know. Like we see a lot of the table today.
We sure do. We used to see the table.
I know.
I think they pushed it back when he was in there trying to work on
But
Saturdays with me and James T.
You're right. It is Mommy Spa Month.
Yes.
It is Goddess Month, Goddess
Yes.
season.
Yes.
And
Miss Joanne Spain just popped up. How you doing, Miss
Charlie
Spain?
Munger. What was I going to say is, when you said Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger are still working together and laughing and cracking jokes, my mind went to, and 30 years from now, we'll still be doing this, but instead of them watching us on Facebook, we'll probably be a hologram or something like that,
likely,
right? They'll
yeah.
be able to pull down and say, let me see what the Hendersons are doing. And, how cool is that?
Technology is just moving us fast, man. Time is changing.
This looks interesting.
It's 2023, and by 2025, they just approved the first flying vehicle.
I can't wait till you get that.
It's $300,000. You're gonna have to put $1,500 down, but it hubbles. I mean, it goes up vertical, so you don't need a one-way, and it's a two-seater. I'm so excited about that because we should have back on the jets, and we're 30 years behind in getting the flying cars right now because this traffic is one of my pet peeves. If there's anything that I don't like if I don't like Henderson, and that's traffic. I mean, I can't stand traffic because I don't understand it because it makes no sense, especially when there's no accident and the car's perfect road and people just automatically say, okay, it's 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, let's just stop driving. And I don't understand that because when I get in the car, I always have somewhere to go. I have a destination, I have a plan, I have a goal. Most people just drift, and I don't like drifting.
Every time I run into a little bit of traffic, and notice I didn't say stuck in traffic because these days you don't have to be stuck in traffic unless there's an accident.
Yeah.
Like if you just see the traffic and you think the topic of our show today, and you say, let me maneuver here and go, you will realize it's a whole space of open highway.
Oh, yes.
Up above.
Yes.
And then I look back, I'm like, well, why are they just there? But every time I run into one of those little pockets, I did Monday, I believe it was, because I don't think I left my house yesterday. Monday, I ran into one of those pockets, and the first thing I said is, I'll be so glad my daddy get his flying car because I thought about you in traffic, and I know how you just be like,
And yeah, because it don't make sense. But you get around them, and then it's a whole highway. It's just clear.
Yeah.
And you wonder, why do we know each other? Why are we in this little school of fish? Like we just going slow.
Just
That's because
doing
one car decides to go 20 miles an hour. The next car matches the next car. And that's pretty much how we do as a society. Monkey see, monkey do. Most of the time, we just copy people rather than thinking and having a plan and getting somewhere. Reason why I don't like traffic because I always have a plan. I have a goal. I have to get somewhere. I'm not just floating. I never got in a car just take a ride and sightsee. I've never done that. Ever.
You just never wanted to let me see something.
No. I'm trying to get somewhere.
But this is a great segue into today's topic, which we're talking about thinking. And before we get into that, I am Hyacinth Henderson. Yes, I am Mr. Henderson's daughter. As you were speaking and saying, you started this company like 30 so years ago, and I've been here for 21 years, I think. 22. I've been here longer than
20.
You've had this company.
Excuse me?
I've been here longer. So you had the company like 8 years before I started.
No, I started Henderson Financial in 1990.
Okay. So we're over the 30-year mark. We're 33 years.
Yeah.
Okay, so just
Well, you've been born.
I was 8.
Right.
So I was 8 when you started it.
Right. And right now you can.
No, the math isn't mathing. But anyway.
So what are you trying to say?
I'm so happy to be here.
No, I'm happy you're here
Thank
too.
you. I'm happy to be here.
No, it's divine order. You were
It is,
born to be
yes.
here.
So for the people who don't know, I am not just here because I'm his daughter. I'm a licensed stockbroker, registered investment advisor representative, and an annuity and insurance broker. And I enjoy what I do. I enjoy talking to people who want to learn.
Right.
Talking to people who want to learn. So let's get into today's topic. We're talking about thinking. And this is so important because even using your car example, we start talking about traffic. It's easy for us to, once we maneuver through traffic and you're like, okay, let me just go over to this lane and then go over, and then it's open road here. One of the first things that comes to mind is, what are they thinking? What are they thinking? Another example is, let's say we're at an amusement park or the youth fair. I remember earlier this year, I took the children to the youth fair, and you first walk up, and let's say there are maybe 20 cashiers or 20 spots that you can go to, and you walk up and it appears that all of the lines are long, because when you walk up you first see that set and maybe two or three they're long. But if you look and you say, well, all these, let me walk around them and go, and here's a lady sitting there on her phone, and then the question comes, what are they thinking?
Right.
Why did they just join that line? Would you say they ain't thinking?
Well, obviously they're not thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of my indicators is I always ask, how old are they? You notice that? I always say,
Mm-hmm.
how old are they?
Yeah, but
Now, I want to know how old they are, because someone called the office and say, they want to buy a house and they have $1,300 saved and they're 72 years old. But first, before when I was told that someone called our office and they said they want to buy a house and they had $1,300 and they want to buy it in South Florida. So when they told me that they had 1,300,
Mm-hmm.
my immediately thought was, okay, I'm thinking about maturity, growth, wisdom, time. So how old are they? Now, if they were 16 or even 18, then I understand.
Mm-hmm.
When they said a person was 72, then I'm like, they missed some laps. They were sleeping. Something that, not quite. It's almost like when you're about 2 years old, you should be potty trained,
Yeah.
3 years old.
So you ask their age, and you do always say how.
I always say, how old are you? Because I want to know how
as
much
an
wisdom or
indicator.
how much understanding,
Right.
So, because I know a baby, when they're trying to walk, should be
Mhm.
walking around 2, average, about 2.
So you're trying to give them an age pass. You're trying to say, maybe this is an 18-year-old that's calling and saying,
Correct.
I want to buy a house,
And I understand.
and you understand. But then when I say, no, this person is going to be 70.
I'm like, had they been in a cave? Had they been asleep?
Right.
Had they been in a coma? They missed a lot
Right.
about life.
I think a lot of that has to do with, and you're right, they did miss a lot. And when I say miss a lot, I mean, they didn't think for themselves.
Right.
Independently think, just doing what you're told. And so that ties back into what my next thought I was going to say. I think a lot of times when people call and say they want to buy a house, one of the first questions I ask them is why.
Right.
And because I want to know, why do you want to buy a house? And a lot of times they just say, well, I don't know, somebody said I should buy a house, or maybe I should, and this and this. And so when they call and they aren't financially in the position to purchase a house and they want to buy a house, it is clear that they have not thought, or they aren't thinking about the process of buying the house. They are just doing what they're told they should do. Similar to the people who are in traffic, and they're creating the traffic when there is no accident. We're on a 6-lane highway, but because I got in line, I saw these people going slow. So they said go slow, so I'm going slow as well, instead of thinking and saying, let me maneuver from this lane. Same thing. So we're using these examples because we first started talking about traffic. Then we gave the example of the youth fair. And now we brought in a real world experience that we experience almost every week at the Henderson Financial Group. Somebody calls here and says that they want to buy a house. And I get it. You want to buy a house, but why? And they have not thought through the reason as to why they want to buy a house. And because they have not thought through the reason as to why they want to buy a house, they aren't prepared to buy a house. They don't even know what they need to do to buy a house.
Right.
All they know is, I want to buy a house, and but houses are expensive.
And I always say, okay, they got to be like 21. They don't know yet.
No, these are grown adults.
That's amazing.
Grown adults.
Because I think I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
Mhm.
It's like when I was 18 years old, I was just existing. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. So when you're young, a lot of times you don't really know. You're trying to figure this out. It's kind of like the day earlier today before I came to the office, I need one of my gutters, around my house need to be repaired. So I call the guy out, There was a jolly old guy, looked like a lumberjack. His face was like a peachy red.
Mm-hmm.
He was nice,
Mm-hmm.
nice guy, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And he walked in. You know, I have a courtyard house. So he
Mhm.
walked in the door. He came in the door. He thought he was inside the house, but he was still in the yard. That's what a courtyard home looked like. So he like, wow. And he had his measuring stuff. And he walked in. He said, wow. He said, I've never seen a house like this. And I said, yeah, it's a courtyard.
You said it's a courtyard.
Yeah.
How old was he? I'm doing one of your numbers.
He looked to be probably about 32, 33.
Okay. Okay. I
Yeah.
got it.
So, you know, obviously he wanted to know what I did.
You
for a
told him?
living. Well, I told him, you know, I said,
Okay.
you know, and then he says, wow. And then we started talking. And then, I mean, he looked like he was someone that, he was really nice, but he looked like someone who, I could tell he wasn't deep thought. You know, I could tell he wasn't deep thought. So he started, you know, talking to me. I could tell he wasn't deep thought because he was doing the physical stuff, and then, you know,
You could tell he wasn't a deep thinker.
I could tell he wasn't a deep thinker. You know?
Gotcha. Okay.
So we started talking, and after he measured and did everything, we talked for another 30 minutes. And now he was like, "Yeah, come on, Rob, what do you got to go? What do you have to talk to the man for?" I was really fascinated because this is someone who probably would be I'm almost sure he would be you know, he's pro-Trump. Nothing wrong with Trump, but I'm pretty sure. But he was, I know that he'd make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, you know, about economics, and he said, how did you learn everything that you learned? And I said, because I studied. I said, not just reading books, but I thought about it. And he asked me about the stock market. And I told him, I said, you know, he said, it costs too much. I said, you know, there's something called stock options. And he says, oh, he know about Forex. And I said, well, that's get rich, get quick. You know, that's take your money, you lose the money. But I said, stock options, I told him, I says, you know, and I simplified it. I said, okay, imagine Apple right now. Apple stock is worth $189.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to buy 100 shares, it costs you $18,900.
Mm-hmm.
What if you don't have, you know, that? Because I said, you know, really stock options really is a poor man's game. In other words, people that don't have money really should master stock options.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they teach it, it's over their head and they can't understand the language. It's like trying to learn, you know, physics.
Mm-hmm.
I said, but basically this is what it is. And I gave him a cash course. I said, listen, if you want to buy 100 shares of Apple right now, and it's $189 a share, it costs you $18,900. But if you don't have $189,000, if you have $18,000, you could lay it away. You could freeze the price today. You could say, here, I got $1,000, and you can lock that price in at $189 today, and you don't have to pay for it until 3 years later. He says, get out of here. I said, yeah, you can freeze this price right now because you don't have 18,000, but you got 1,000. So say you want to buy 100 shares, you're gonna put a down payment on it. So you can put $1,000 down, and you got a contract that for the next 3 years, if you ever save up $18,000, you can buy 100 shares of Apple. It's yours. But he says, what happens in 3 years if Apple at $500? I said, well, that 18,000 that you owe, now it has grown to 50,000. And I said, remember, you only put down layaway on $1,000. So even though the price is $500 a share, you are locked in at $189 shares for 3 years. He says, they can't change the prices. No, it's a contract. He says, now all I have to do is put down $1,000. I said, yes. He said, you don't have to make no payments. I said, no. He says, get out of here. His face lit up. And there was a white guy. He was like, oh my God, I've never heard of this. Why they don't teach this in school? I said, they're going to teach this in school. He says, they don't teach this in business. They don't teach this in business schools. They don't teach this in none of that. I says, you have to know somebody. You have to think. You have to find out. So he was totally blown away. And I said, you know, there's so many people. I said, they got us fighting, fussing about Republican Democrats. They got us fighting black color. People, white color, you know, Spanish, whatever. Why? They're taking the money and going down the street
about their business.
And then because we're not thinking, and we're just, I said, people want to kill you. I'm right wing, I'm left wing. And this is foolishness. I say, you poor, you don't have no money, you care about your family. And you shouldn't care what color a person is, as long as they give you knowledge, information to help you. And he said, oh my God, I could talk to you all day. And I said, but I can't because I go to my office.
Now you see why we were a little late today, wasn't me? Yeah. But I love this example. Let's tie this in. This is a very good example for those listening, especially those of you all who love stocks and everybody likes options. Not everybody. Some of y'all are like, oh, options, Miss Anderson, options. So that was a free one for y'all. But let's tie this into the topic, right? Because the way that you explained it to him,
Right.
and let's go back to our topic. Our title today says, reading and studying are not the same as thinking.
Oh my God. Say that again.
Reading and studying are not the same as thinking. So
Getting a college degree, getting a master's degree is
not the same as thinking. This is why you have people who have college degrees and master degrees and things like that, and they are not prosperous. They're where they are in life. Same thing. So let's go back to the stock option example. The way that you explained it to him, when you get ready to take the registered representative exam, which is a 6-hour exam. Okay. It's a 6-hour exam. And when you read about options, everyone will tell you options is so challenging. The most of the test is options. They don't explain it the way Mr. Henderson explained it.
No way.
So now you can read about options in that book. You can study options in that book. But unless you take the time to read, study, and then think, which is the processing of information.
That's right. Because you could study the book line by line and be able to recite it, regurgitate it, and still not understand it.
There are people right now who are licensed. They have the license to be able to trade stock options and cannot explain it the way Mr. Anderson just did.
No, they can't.
Don't even understand it that way because they may have read, they may have studied to pass a test, but they did not do the extra step, which is the step that is going to advance you in all aspects of your life, which is thinking. So we're talking about options, but let's think, right? Let's think about other areas of your life where you may just be going along. You just get in the line for traffic. You just get in the line at the youth fair. You're just going along, doing this. I'm reading, I'm studying, I'm doing what but am I taking the time to think so that I can gain understanding, clarity, and wisdom? And then when you explain it or something like the way Mr. Henderson did, now all of a sudden it's like, I got it.
Yeah.
And it opens doors.
Yes, because most of the time, the thread does not know that it's part of a sweater. The thread,
okay, Confucius,
does not know that it's part of a sweater. It's just a thread. It doesn't know that it's part of a sweater. It's not thinking. It's not saying what am I really doing? What's the big picture? You know,
I'm just here. I'm just a thread.
That's right.
I'm just laying here.
That's right.
And a lot of you listening are the thread. We ain't talking about a sweater. We're not in the sweater business, right? Let's come on. And we're going to come on with the come on. I've been up all night studying. I'm like, do I got to do the show? We're going to do the show. So we're going to do the show.
You ready for it, huh?
A lot of you, let's use the example Mr. Anderson gave. He says a lot of times the thread doesn't realize that it is a part of a bigger picture.
Right.
Zoom out. So ask yourself,
right,
where am I just being the thread in my life? Where am I just existing? Where am I just doing the same thing over and over again? Going to work, coming home, going to the beach, going to the bar, wherever you go, whatever it is. And it doesn't have to be the bar. It could be, you could be a thread and doing something that is not destructive, but is also not advancing.
Yeah, because oftentimes you'll be 80 years old, you look back and you say, I never knew I was a sweater.
I was a thread. I never knew I was a part of this big sweater.
I never knew.
I could have done so many other things.
Right.
But I was just here and I wasn't being destructive.
I was doing what I was told.
But I also wasn't advancing.
And I had a 9 to 5. I had a job. I had a job to do. You know, I retired, but I still don't understand.
I had a roof over my head.
Yeah.
So if you want to zoom out a little bit and say, wait a minute, I am a part of this sweater. What other parts of me can I explore? Can I expand? Can I do? Can I learn? And that only comes with thinking, because if not, you're just doing.
Yeah.
And society and technology and marketing has people positioned to not think.
I just want you to know, some people, they just heard you talking about the thread and the sweater, they don't know.
They lost. It's okay. They'll come back. But the good thing about this, as long as Zuck is around Facebook and it's on YouTube,
like,
right?
Talking about
they come back. It come back to you. It's okay sometimes.
I went
way over their
head, you know?
But for some people, you gotta read it twice or 3 times.
Oh yeah.
And then they may come back a year from now when the Facebook memory comes up and like, dang, I didn't get it, but I got it now.
Yeah. Oftentimes, that's why when you just read stuff so fast, if you read something, you're trying to learn something, you read the first time, you say you got it, but you read the second time, it's a little better. You read by the 10th time you read it, and even better, if you read it 10 times and then 6 months later go back and read it, I promise you see it differently.
Absolutely.
because you had time for it to marinate, seek into your subconscious mind, and you look at it different, and you're in a different space. Hopefully, you've grown, you know, learned something, and you come back and you look at that, and you go, "Oh my God! Now I want to find out why was Humpty Dumpty sitting on the wall." First, I didn't care. I just recited Humpty Dumpty sat on the wall. And then, you know what? What is he doing on that wall? I didn't even care to ask that question.
Who put him up there? How did he get up there? What's the purpose of the wall? What
Yeah.
is the wall? How does this apply to my life?
Right. Then you start, you know, you're getting some understanding because in all your life you're understanding. So today we're talking about thinking. So reading, studying, getting a, you know, doctor degree, PhD, whatever. That's still not thinking. Thinking is the hardest thing for man to do. And most of us think that we're thinking, but we're not. Just because you have a 9-to-5 job or you're studying something. See, even studying something, a lot of times the reason why they catch you to see if who really thinking. Let me tell you how to, when you're studying for a test, this is how they.
Oh my God, you took this thought right out of my head.
This is
very good.
This is how they get you because they know everybody. You just feel like, oh, I gotta do it, just read from page to page, and I got it. No. It looks like that. You read and you study the whole book, you know. But what they do is they'll say, okay, you're reading the book, and it'll say, you read 2 + 1 is 3. 2 + 1 is 3. You got that. But then on the test, it'll say, what is 1.5 + 1.5? You're like, that wasn't on the test.
That wasn't on the study material. They didn't teach me that.
They didn't teach me that. How am I supposed to know 1.5, 1 3?
Because you didn't understand the concept. So the concept, they taught you the concept of addition. When you have these numbers, if you add them together, it gives you a sum. But you didn't understand because you didn't think. But this is very real.
You were looking for 2 + 1.
Right. This is going to free somebody in real life. When I say somebody, I mean a lot of bodies. I mean a lot of somebodies, because a lot of times people will get caught up in thinking that you're reading and that you're studying. And if you are not a reader or a studier, then this still applies to you. We'll come back to that. I was going to say it still applies to you because what you're doing, even though you may not be physically reading or studying a book, you are a student of life. So a lot of times people feel like when they're physically reading and studying something, that is all that it takes. But you must take the time to actually think about what it is that you study so that you can grasp the concept and then take action. If not, you will just be able to recite big words. You'll have all these letters behind your name or whatever the case may be, but not advancing in life. So going back to the people who haven't read a book since you graduated from high school, you still are studying throughout life. What does your study look like? Although you don't have a physical book, your study looks like watching the behaviors and action of people. And some of you will watch the behaviors and action of people, studying them. Let's go deep here. We up. You'll be studying their behaviors, and it may look like, oh, they're making a lot of money doing this. Oh, I'm studying them. They're wearing the latest Versace robe. I'm studying them. They're taking all the trips. I'm studying them because you're a student of life without opening a book. And because I'm studying their lifestyle, this is a space called lifestyle marketing that a lot of you fall victim to. Because I'm studying their lifestyle without thinking, I'm listening to them. I'm like, I want what they have. So you buy whatever they're selling. And then when you get it, you're like, hold on, why I don't have the Versace robe? Why I don't have the Rolls Royce? Because you were studying their actions, looking at them without thinking about how does this make sense?
Yeah, because really, honestly, you know, having letters, having degrees, you know, CFP or whatever, my wisdom that I have did not come from getting licenses.
Yeah.
I don't have a college degree. I don't. My wisdom comes from thinking. There's a lot of people that got, you know, credentials, degrees, but they have no wisdom. Wisdom comes from thinking, you know, and to answer Mia's question here, she says, what advice would you give us to give to an older person that's trying to get their life together now? Okay, so Mia, let's walk this through. So, older person that's trying to get their life together now, you say, what advice would we give them? So the first question that we were asked is, older person, what is your goal and what is you trying to accomplish? Now, you know, that's deep. When you say get their life together, that's vague, you know. I mean, you know, life together means different things to different people. with this individual get their life together, what do they want? In other words,
Mhm.
what are their goals? That they, what are their goals? And once we know your goal, then we can help you and show you how to get there with like a GPS. In other words, if you like GPS on your phones, if you say, where do you want to go? If I say I want to go to Atlanta and I want to take a road trip, all I have to do is put in where I am right now and put in the address in Atlanta, and the GPS will tell me how to get there, what route, how much time it's going to take. It'll tell me that. So we do the same thing with an older person. When a older person says any person, matter of fact, say, I want to get my life in order. You got to know, first of all, what you want. It's like going to a restaurant and saying, I just want to eat. They got somebody going, the waiter or waitress going to say, what do you want to eat? And you say, I want a big pork chop. And he's like, what? And you say, I don't eat pork. And they say, okay, what about a nice steak? They say, I don't eat meat. So rather than the person asking you, you need to tell the person,
What you
cut it
want.
short, what it want. Because the person can ask you everything. You want this, you want that, want that, want that, and it'll waste time. If you tell a person, okay, I thought about this, this is where I want to go, and this is what I want. If you know what you want, where you want to go, and if you know the time that you want to do it in, we can tell you how to get there. We can take you to the scenic route. We can take you to the express route. We can take you to the medium route. We can tell you how to get there, and we'll tell you what you need to pack and what you need to have.
And I love that analogy that you gave about food and ordering and stuff like that. I think it's great because a lot of people can pick up what you're putting down. They'll be able to relate that to their lives. For those of you who are listening and you're like, okay, I got to think about what it is that I want, because most times, most people don't even know what they want.
That's 1,000% true.
Don't even know what they want. So they're like, okay, I got it. So before I call the Henderson Financial Group to tell them what I want, I have to first figure it out what I want. Something that I would encourage people to do is to look at your habits. Just do an assessment of assess yourself for 7 days. After you assess yourself for 7 days, you will start to identify your habits. And it's just you. You don't have to turn this into anyone. You don't have to have this conversation. But if you assess yourself for 7 days and you write down what you did, when you woke up, everything, like how long does it take for you to wake up and get out of the house? Just write that down. You'll start to notice some of your habits, and your habits are an indicator of why you are where you are. Because once you tell us what you want and we put your information and we say, okay, we're going to create a plan for you. We're going to give you this map. We're going to give you this plan. And it happens. We give you the GPS. We give you the route. You come to us, you say, we're here. This is what I want. This is where I want to go. And we give you the route. Your habits are going to determine if you follow the GPS, or this, like your GPS on your phone, right? You ever be in the car with somebody and they want to take the back way, and I know this way. Well, we got GPS. GPS is telling you to go this way. No, but I'm gonna go this way. Well, don't you know the GPS have satellites and they know that there's an accident over there that since you right here, you can't even see?
That's right.
Why is the GPS telling me this way, right? So that goes back to, let's tie this into financial planning and just whatever it is you want to advance in life. When someone gives you a plan, it is going to come down to you and your habits.
That's right. Executing the plan.
And your habits are going to tell you, because it's nothing wrong with the plan, but your habits are going to tell you, oh, wait, why didn't I do what they told me to do the first time? Why haven't I changed my life? Oh, because I haven't changed my habits.
Yeah.
And that in itself requires you to sit down and to think. Again, reading and studying are not the same as thinking. Everything requires thinking. So if you come to us and we give you a plan, as we talk to you about the plan, as we present the plan, it's going to require you to also think. Yeah. It's going to require you to say, okay, in order for me to do what Mr. Henderson and the team there says that I need to do, let me think about what I need to change.
Yes. And let me tell you something. If you want to grow and if you want to get something different, then you got to know that a change has to take place, because you can't keep doing the same thing you've been doing. How are you going to get something different? So you got to be ready for change. If you want more and you want better, you got to accept change. Don't think you're going to come here, we're going to do the same thing. If you like a skinny man, 100-pound man, want to go to a trainer. He said he wants to be buffed out, fine, and muscles. And the trainer tell him, okay, I want you to start lifting these 50 pounds. He's like, I ain't doing that. I'm only gonna lift 10 pounds. Why? Because it's easy. Well, you gonna still be skinny. So it's gonna take some challenging. You have to. Anytime you want to go up higher and you want to advance, it requires you to do something different, because if you keep doing the same thing you've been doing, you're gonna get the same results. That's simple math. That's it. If you keep saying 2 + 6 is 3, if you keep saying that, you're getting it wrong, but you're gonna keep getting it wrong until you say 2 + 6 is 7. It's the right way to do it. So the whole thing that we're talking about today is a big difference from reading and studying and watching and thinking. It's a big difference. You have to be able to think, and you cannot get that thinking really doesn't from books. Books don't teach you how to think. Books just gives you the information. You have to be able to go how to think. I'll give you a perfect example. A deck of cards. You want to play a card game? You want to play blackjack? It ain't just chance 21. It's certain ways, it's certain strategies. Think about a card game, and we all have been dealt cards in our life. Our whole life is cards. I mean, I was dealt, my deck was dealt. I had a drunk daddy. And my cards, and my mother was 11th grade, went to school until 11th grade. And, she was a custodian, a janitor at the school. So I could have said, man, I got a bad hand. I ain't getting no inheritance. I ain't got nothing, man. But I didn't say that. I said, okay, God, I see the hand you dealt me. It's what I have. Let me figure it out. No, I don't like that card. Let me throw it out and put one up. Throw that out. Let me make a spread. Bam. Okay, I see. Then I start seeing how the game of life is going. Okay, don't go to jail, because before you go to jail, they're going to put you in jail for a long time. You need lawyers too. You need money too. You need money to go to jail to try to get out. You know what I mean? Don't do that. Oh, don't do all that stuff that hurts your body, because now you got to go to the hospital. You go to the hospital, you're going to get 12, 20 different
prescriptions,
invoices. The wheelchair man, the nurse, everybody, every time you turn around. Oh, Lord, man, Jesus. So I said, okay, you can't do that. So you got to start learning and try to figure out how life is. Thinking, the thinkers rule the world. They always have, always will. So you want to get on the side of thinking, learning how to think and looking at things, and stop trying. And one of the things is that non-thinkers do. Non-thinkers want to hurry up fast. They want to hurry up fast.
Let me say this, and I want to go back to the deck of cards comment, because I had a beautiful visual. When you shift from being a non-thinker to a thinker, you're going to realize how much you didn't think before.
Yes.
Like, you're going to realize how much, like, dang, I wasn't thinking. And then you're also going to realize how many non-thinkers are in the world.
Oh, yeah, you do.
As you intentionally, and it has to be intentionally, and because if not, there's so many intentional distractions that are, their goal is to take you off your A game. They don't want you to think.
More than you can imagine.
They just don't want you to think. Between the music, the food, the TV, the everything. Just don't. The people, they don't want you to think. The news, they don't want you to think. So when you start intentionally disconnecting so that you can think, and then it's like, okay, this wheel is turning. Now I'm thinking. I'm starting to look at things and think about things in a different way. You will start to realize how many people are non-thinkers, and then it becomes exciting. You're like, dang, all I gotta do is think, and then I can go to this level. All I gotta do is think, and I can do, and it's so subtle. Like, so I think I was telling Mr. Henderson about when I'm in Pilates. When I'm in Pilates class, it is very interesting to me that the Pilates instructor can give a command and say, do this. And to me, it's just like, lift your right leg up.
Right. Half the class.
Left leg.
Grown
right
people.
arm.
These are grown people?
Grown, like real grown people. Because Pilates is, that ain't,
right.
It's not $10 a month. So I'm like, dang. So in these instances, you will start to realize how many people just don't think, and they live their life without thinking. And then you'll go back and say, okay, I want to make sure that I think. So let's go back to this deck of cards. example you gave, which I love so much, because you talked about you being dealt a deck of cards and with your dad and your mom and all these things like that. Most people don't feel like the deck of cards that they have is all that they have. The hand that they have is all that they is in focus. They don't realize that the hand that you have is there, but the deck is right on the table in front of you.
Right.
So that's almost like me saying, I'm holding this deck in this. That's what it's called, right? When you play cards,
Yes.
I'm holding this hand. I'm holding this hand right here, and I'm just going to continue to focus on this environment, these parents, these friends, this low-paying job, this bad health. I'm only going to focus when all you have to do, instead of complaining and saying, why did you deal me this hand? Why did you deal me this hand? My leg keeps hurting and it won't stop hurting. And all these other things. Why did you deal me this hand? I want you to zoom out a little bit and be like, the whole deck is right here.
That's right. And that's time. They got a long time to play.
And here's the thing, even taking time off the table, how do I say, you know what? I don't want this deck anymore. I don't want this hand anymore.
Right.
Let me change this out for this.
Yeah, you can pull a card and throw one out.
Let me change this job out for a new job.
That's powerful.
Let me change this mindset out for a new mindset.
That's powerful.
Let me change these eating habits out for new eating habits.
That's powerful.
But so many people only look, this the hand they gave me, this my mama was this, the daddy, this, all whatever it is people say. You're just looking at this only. I want you to understand that the deck is right here. You ain't even got to get up. You don't even have to get up to get the deck. You don't have to go to the card store. You don't have to order it off Amazon and wait till next day delivery. You don't have to ask somebody else. All you got to do is be like,
you do have to take action. You do have
the deck is right there.
That's right. You do have to be progressive. You do have to want something. You do have to want change. You do have to have effort. You do have to try.
And a lot of times people believe, let's go a little bit deeper, that it's other people's responsibility to give them a new hand. And so that looks like, this is my deck. This is my hand. This is what I got. If only somebody gave me something. Why wouldn't somebody get? And so here's what happens. Some people let me give you a new card. If someone gives you a new card while you're only focusing on the hand that you have, 9 out of 10 times, you are not going to be able to recognize how you can make this new card and add it to it and do some flips and make a book, which I call it when y'all play spades and all this stuff. You're not going to recognize that.
Play spades. I don't play
Tunk or whatever the game is. So it's not that you need to wait for somebody to give you a new card to put in your hand, because oftentimes when that happens, what do you do with the new card anyway? This ain't my card. I ain't want this card.
It depends on how you're thinking.
And most people who are not getting up and taking action
don't think.
Right. Why they gave me this? This not the one I wanted. I wanted something else. You ever gave somebody something and they complaining?
Well, a lot of people get dealt a hand. They don't know how to play the game of life.
And that's a whole nother. We need an hour for that to talk about the game of life. I feel like I am now, as I'm less than 30 days away from my 42nd birthday. I feel like I understand these rules now.
You know what? That's why. I remember one time I did a show on. I said, by the time you 40, you should get it. If you ain't got it by the time you 40, man, I don't know what you was doing. By the time you 40, you should have been went to jail, got out, got married, got divorced, got on drugs, got off, had the wrong job, start over career. You should say, okay, let me reshuffle this, because hey, I still got a while to go. And some people just stay with the same hand though. Some people be like, I married this fool when I was 21.
And I'm just stuck.
And this fool's
the only hand I got.
This fool's a drunk. He ain't doing nothing, but I'm married to him.
Whole deck right here. Whole deck right here. Right?
You come home and I got to do, oh man, you got to be able to make some moves if you want to change the hand and the outcome of your life, because you are the thinker that think the thoughts.
And it's never too late. That's the beautiful thing about this.
No, it's never too late. The only time it's too late is when you gave it the ghost and you in heaven or hell, wherever you're going to be going. But as long as you have a pulse, then there's a shot. That's why we get new clients that are 70, 80 years old, and we help them out, because there's still some wisdom and understanding and strategies that we know that they don't know, because we've been doing this for over 30 years. So we love what we do. But and that's why we're never bored, because the cases are different, and there's so many people on the planet and so many different thoughts and ideas, and we always come across people that have different businesses, man, different strategies. We're like, wow, that's a business. You can do that, and they become our clients, so we learn even more of that. So what we're talking about today is uh, understanding how to think. There's a lot of people that read the Bible from cover to cover, but still don't understand it.
Don't get me started. I don't know what it is now. Oh my,
What's that you drinking there? Huh?
some kind of herbs. I make a whole like 5 different herbal mixtures.
And see, and you know something wrong with that because many people go to believe in God and religion in the Bible and the planet the way it is. First of all, I remember one time a lady was telling me she was going to Bible study on a Tuesday, and I said, "You can't come by." She says, "No." She got the Bible study. I said, "How many people be the Bible study?" She said, 800 people. I said, "That's impossible." She said, "No, 800 people be studying the Bible on Tuesday." I said, "In Miami, 800 people, they studying the Bible." She said, I said, listen, if you got 800 people studying the Bible, getting wisdom, understanding, and the black community is still like it is, I don't know what they studying. They in there quoting, going.
You took it back old school code.
I said, they in there quoting, they trying to get dates, but they ain't learning wisdom because you got 500 people, 800 people, and they on the right accord. You can move mountains.
They're not thinking.
So
they're reading the scriptures. They're in Bible study, but they're not thinking it. And we didn't go deep into what it takes to really think. What does it take to think? That is when you take the information that has been presented to you and sit with it. Another word, the word that comes to mind is to like really synthesize it. But I didn't go to college. Well, I went to college, but I ain't graduated, so I don't know if that's the wrong word.
You your dad,
right?
College too. But see, the thing is that
you have to take the information,
right?
And
well, that's what you have to do. Okay, let me tell you how I do it.
Let me tell us
exactly how I do it.
Let me see if synthesize is the word. Go ahead.
So when I get when I'm learning something, right, and I get something new, I take it in word for word. Everything that's true relates to a principle.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
This. I like this. Yeah.
Everything that is true relates to a principle. And there's nothing new under the sun. So what they do is all principles, they are related to other principles, but they're just different content. Okay. And they're different words, different names, but it's the same thing, but they just change it. So then whatever I'm learning, I'll try to take that out. Okay. I'll give you a perfect example. I'm gonna give you one right now. Okay. You still looking or what?
I'm just not.
Okay.
I can do both.
Yeah, but you're looking at your phone. Okay. So let me give you a perfect example. When I was studying the difference between owning a stock and having a mutual fund. Now, mutual funds is much more conservative. It's not as aggressive, not as risky as having one stock. Okay. So when you have a mutual fund, it's like having a basket of 400-500 different companies. All these different companies from Apple, Microsoft, Google, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, Anheuser-Busch, I mean, whatever you want to, Kellogg's, they're all in one pile. So you can actually put $100 a month into that pile of all of these stocks. They call them mutual fund, okay? Okay, now, but if you want to buy one stock, that's not a mutual fund, it's a single person, it is Apple. So now, if you put $100 in Apple, whatever Apple do, go up or down, today you're gonna make money or it's gonna drop in value. Okay, that's more riskier because in order for you not to lose money, Apple stock got to keep going up. If it goes down, you're like, okay, I'm down. On a mutual fund, guess what? With all these 500 different companies in this one basket, Apple is one of the 500 companies. The S&P 500 is a fund. The S&P has 500 different companies, right? Okay, so when you read that, you go, okay, I just read that. Okay, that's a single, that's a stock, and that's a fund. So after I read that, then I say, okay, let me take that and use that in another form. Take that out of context and do another form. So then I go, okay, I got it. I understand it. And they say, Henderson, how you understand it? I said, I understand it. It's coming to me. Okay, let me think about it. Oh, I got it. Let's say we're getting ready to have a banquet. And we having a banquet and we have inviting all the people. We're going to have 500 people to come to this banquet. And we're going to have tables for 500 people. Okay? 10 people at a table. But in the centerpiece, we want to have some fruit. If we just put an apple on everybody's table, when the people come into the hall to sit down, if we put 10 apples, per table. If we come and they come to the hall and sit down, everybody don't like apples. And those red apples, some people like green apples, some people don't like apples, some people allergic to apples. So it's gonna be a bust or a bang, or you're gonna miss. But I tell you what, that's risky. Because if you say no, we're gonna put an apple on everybody's chair, a red apple, you're taking a risk because everybody don't like apples. Some people got false teeth, some people have no teeth. You taking a risk. So how can we reduce this risk? Why don't we do a fun? What do you mean a fun? Why don't we have a fruit basket? Because a fun have apple in it, have oranges, have bananas, has peach, has kiwi, has grapes. It has all kind of assortment of fruit. Strawberries, pineapples, it have all that. And then when you put that on the table, everybody, if you don't like that, you like this, you like that. So everybody, you can satisfy more people. People will be more happy. You don't have to take that risk of just putting an apple. So the stock is one apple. It's more riskier than having the fun, which is a bowl, because now everybody can be satisfied. I love it. That's thinking. So I read that, and then I said, okay, wow, why don't I if that's true what they're saying, I need to be able to take that and use that principle somewhere else. So then I thought about, what about a tree? We got a mango tree. Here's a mango tree right here that has one mango. But here's a mango tree that has full of mangoes. Which one is much more healthier?
The tree with a lot of mango.
That's right. That's the fun. Because if one mango rotten,
you got another mango.
That's right.
You got a whole tree of you got other options available to you so that you can eat. You don't starve because you just have one tree.
And that is a financial concept. Do you want to invest more riskier in the stock, or do you want to put it into the fund?
Depends on your risk tolerance.
Depends on your risk
and your personal financial situation. Yes.
So that is thinking. Another thinking. You got a wife. You got Juicy Lucy.
Juicy Lucy. You love you some Juicy Lucy.
Oh my God, Juicy Lucy got everything done. She got fake hair, fake eyes, fake feather. Blah, blah, blah. She got the whole, but she's looking like, oh my God. You're looking, oh my God, Juicy Lucy. Juicy Lucy, because you got the wife who dear when you're sick, take care of you.
Oh my
God. For a long time. You just met Juicy Lucy, but this is right here. You see both of them. Only a fool would just drop his wife after 20 years and go with Juicy Lucy. Because Juicy Lucy, she looked like that. She's going to be more rich. She's going to cost more. You follow me? So he wasn't thinking when he dropped his wife. He wasn't thinking. But if he would have sent back and started thinking, he would say, now, you know that right there what Juicy Lucy got? All that stuff, all that fake this, all that fake that fake hair. You know, time, she ain't going to look like that forever. And she don't cook. I have to keep going out. I got to keep buying her. I got to think. I'm going to be the one that I know. You understand?
Instead of just seeing.
So you asked me, how do I think on everything. I think about it.
And so I asked that because I want you to be able to give the people something to take away so that they can move from reading and studying to thinking, because you gave the example about taking a test. This is true. A lot of people will read information and study, or they'll go to class, and they're just like, I can't pass the test. I can't do it, or I can't go. And we're not even talking about just a physical test that you have to, pen and paper test, but the test that you are experiencing in life. If you find that you keep finding yourself in the same situations repeatedly, day after day, example, if you find that you keep dating the same type of person with a different name, you just like my ex, you just like my ex, you just like my ex. Who is the common denominator?
You.
It is because you are looking at certain external things, whatever it may be. I don't want to make it all about physical things, but you're looking at things and you're not thinking this through, such as, oh, okay, yeah, I know we hang out and we like to have a good time together, but me thinking about my lifestyle and your lifestyle is going to tell me if we are going to be compatible for 2 months or 20 years. And oftentimes people don't do that. So I'm using the example as relationships, but in everything in life, you have to ask yourself, if I'm repeating the same thing, or if I'm finding myself in similar rooms, but the characters are different, it's like, dang, if this feeling like deja vu, I feel like I just experienced this at my last job, or I experienced this with my last set of friends, or I experienced this with my last whoever. What is it that you are looking at on the outer and not thinking about on a deeper level. And really what thinking is taking the information and taking some time to, I want to say, conceptualize it. And like, okay, how does this affect? How does this play into this? How does this happen? Like, what is the bigger picture? Let me think ahead.
Yeah.
And that will allow you to advance in life, because the purpose of life, as we see around us, is about advancement and evolution.
Development and growth, expanding. You know,
Yeah.
I look at nature a great deal. I even though we're in the financial planning business, um, I look at situations and I apply nature to it. You know, I apply the four seasons. You know, um, when you diversify, you know, you may have, you know, stocks, you may have annuities, you may have insurance, you may have real estate. That reminds me of the four seasons. You know, nature. You know, that some of them are going to be up this time. I mean, because winter is different than fall, and fall is different from spring. You know, I mean, it's different from summer. I mean, so when you have, so that tells me right now that it's really good to be diversified. I mean, even though you might just like winter, but if you just like winter, when summer comes, you're gonna suffer. But if you have a little bit of winter, and if you are well grounded, you prepare for summer, you prepare for, you know, fall and spring, then you're prepared. So having your life in terms of balance and knowing that the sun is not going to continue to shine 24 hours. You know, the moon has got to come. So that's a shift. So that lets me know. People ask me why I don't get bent out of shape when the stock market down or something happened or whatever, because I understand nature. As you age and as you grow, you should look at life and look at nature, that we have seasons. And you don't have to get bent out of shape. A lot of times, you know, I remember my wife T really taught me how you should buy winter clothes in the summer. If you buy it off, you buy winter clothes in the summer, because all the stores, they're going to put all them coats and all of those, because remember, they're just putting summer clothes out. So you should buy coats and every heavy coat, because all that stuff on sale. They're trying to get rid of it because they're putting all the summer clothes. They know people just want to go for the now. They're not planning, not thinking. But if you buy some winter clothes in the summer, you get good deals. You know what I mean? And in Christmas time, if you buy summer clothes, you get absolutely good deals. This is what you call thinking. So that same concept is when the stock. That's what Warren Buffett, who's the fifth richest man in the world, he says that anytime there's a recession or the stock market is doing bad, that's the best time to buy. But 95% say, "Oh no, I'm running. I don't want that." And that's not how he got rich. You know, that's thinking, and that's hard for people to do. You know,
look at the information and think about it. But I'm trying to find another word besides think. Look at the information, sit with the information.
Well,
assess the information and think.
But that's why we're here, you know, and we help you, because, you know, a lot of you all are 9 to 5, you're doing your job, and then you want somebody to help. You know, we're financial physicians, so we'll explain it to you, and that's what we do. We love doing it, and that's why our lives, you know, cases are different. We're not never bored. We don't do the same thing.
No boredom over here.
Yeah, we constantly learning and growing, and then we have, you know, meetings, and we, you know, we expand and we grow and we develop, because we too believe that we have to continue to sharpen our knives for the rest of our life, and we really like it, and we like helping people. We love to help people to create and have a better life. But you got to be listening. You got to be prepared to actually be disciplined. You got to be disciplined, and you have to be committed, and that's natural nature too, being committed. You know, and you can't
that's a huge
plant
part
a
of
seed and keep digging it up, seeing how much it grows. You got to give it time to marinate. You know,
or doing something. Oh, I did it for 3 days and nothing changed.
Right.
And that's a big one.
I did it for a year.
Yeah, that's a big one. I did it. I've been doing it for 3 weeks and I don't see any changes. Okay, keep going. How, you know, are you committed to this? Are you disciplined enough? Is this really your goal? And so oftentimes that's why we go back to your response when Mia asked the question, how would you assist someone, or how would you help, or what advice would you give to someone who's older? And the first thing you said is, what do you want? And most humans, young, old, black, white, brown, short, tall, fat, most humans, I don't want to say nobody, don't know what they want.
They just want to be rich.
They don't know what they
They want to be
want.
rich, they want to be happy. They just want to,
Yeah.
want to exist.
Yeah.
But they don't have a goal. They don't have a plan.
Yeah.
But if you have a plan, I tell you something, man. You're trying to get somewhere. You're busy, and you can focus on it, and it helps keep you in line. If you have a plan, I mean, if we say we're gonna design a plan, we can take a road trip from here to Atlanta. We ain't got time to deviate and get off track. We got to get there. You know
It don't make no sense for me to get in my car driving to the Keys talking about I want to see something right quick.
Right.
Let me see if it's dolphins down here in the Keys.
No, man, we got to go.
We got to be to Atlanta
We
by
got to go to
tomorrow.
Atlanta. That's north. It's not south.
What are you doing?
And
think about that with your goals, but you first have to know what do you want. And that alone, if you just take that from today's conversation, just take a pen and paper and ask yourself, what do I want? And see if you can fill up a whole page front and back with what you want.
And tell them about the GPS that's on our website.
Financial GPS. A lot of people have been calling and the receptionist says, all right, do you need a financial GPS? And they say, no, I don't need a financial GPS, but I need to help get my investments together and stuff like that. And I always look at the message like, oh, this is so interesting.
So
I like this.
Explain
so the just like your GPS on your phone or in your automobile, the global positioning system, as we know that GPS stands for now, the GPS, the financial GPS, which we use at the Henderson Financial Group, takes a look at where you are right now. It takes a look at your current position and it helps you answer the 4 most important financial questions of your life. Now, I know a lot of people ask you things about your finances and everybody want to get rich, but 99% of you have not answered the four most important financial questions. They are on our Henderson Financial Group Facebook page. The number one question I like to ask people is, do you know how much you need to be saving or investing today to be able to live how you're living in the future the same way you're living now? That's the number one question I like to ask. The second question I love to ask is, do you know what rate of return your investments needs to be making today so that you can continue to live in the future how you're living now? And I like to ask these 2 questions, and we have other questions, but we like to ask these 2 questions is because when we start thinking about where you are today and where you want to be in the future, it requires us to look at your current position, GPS, global positioning system. So your financial GPS is a process that we at the Henderson Financial Group take you through, where we say, hey, let's just look at where you are now. No strings attached, no hard feelings. Let's just look at where you are, no judgment. Once you show us where you are, then we're going to ask you that question, where do you want to be? And most people know, I want to retire by this age, I'm sick of working, whatever the case may be. And so you, just like your GPS in your car, this is where I am. I want to go to downtown Miami. This is where I want to be. It's going to create a route. At the Henderson Financial Group with our financial GPS, you tell us where you are. And of course, you're going to have to give us some information. We don't want you to rely off your memory. We're going to look at your interest rates. We're going to look at your income. We're going to look at some information, but it's not information that you should not know or have readily available. After we do that, we're going to put you in and say, this is where you're starting. And this is where you want to go. We got 4 ways to get you there. How are we going to get you there? So that's what the financial GPS is. It is a really, really cool tool. I love it. And not just because it has pictures and it's colorful, and I like colors and pictures, but I love it because it provides the visual component, especially when we're talking about something as important as money, right? So when we start talking about retirement, most people know they don't want to work anymore, but they don't know how much money they need to be able to not work anymore and not eat beanies and weenies.
Yeah.
So when we bring in the financial GPS, we bring in the visuals, the pictures, and the photos so that you can see, hey, this is where you are. And although it may seem like this big task, with us by your side, navigating you as your guide, helping you navigate as your guide, we can get you there. So that's what the financial GPS is.
And don't be embarrassed, because a lot of people say, they're embarrassed to show that they ain't doing the right thing. That's okay. It's like going to your doctor. You got to get on that scale. I mean, I know you're a little heavy, but that's okay. You got to still get on the scale, and we can show you how, to trim the fat or what you need to do. So, go on the website and complete it. I mean, I think you'll really like it. It's a good exercise for you,
So on the website and complete it. Let's see. So when you go to our website, you can sign up for our list, and then in the email, it will have a link to complete it. Okay. So that's how that is. And using really quickly before we go, because I have not eaten and I'm starving.
I bought my lunch.
I have a smoothie. Anyway, I have food. But what I wanted to talk about, go ahead.
I need you to help me, because tomorrow morning, 8:00, I gotta talk to the National Black Fire Chiefs for the 2nd year. So I need you to help me to put together a PowerPoint.
Less than 24 hours.
Yes, that's okay. Come on, we can do this. I just need to. I'm going to be talking. I know it in my head, but I need to put down the pinpoint so I won't go out because y'all know I can talk all day and I only got an hour. So I need to make sure I hit the right point. So we got to go. All right.
This reminds me of back in the day when I first started, and you were writing writing articles for the Miami Times.
Right.
And if the the deadline to have the article submitted to the Miami Times, is the Miami Times still around?
Yeah.
The Miami Times, let's say it was 5 p.m.
Yes.
on Friday evening.
Yeah.
I'm working.
Yeah.
And here comes Mr. Henderson. Hey, I need you to type this article up for me.
Type it up.
So he's standing next to my desk, and I'm like, yeah. So this reminds me of this.
So you hit the press.
Well, I had to read it and
Yeah.
send it, and then he look at when it comes out. He's like, "Oh, you did good." You got what I was like, "Yeah." So I will get your presentation
These are
together.
National Black Fire Chiefs coming from all over.
I will.
It's the second time they asked me to come, so I got to go speak at 8:00.
I will give you the best presentation.
All right.
But really quickly, when you talked about being embarrassed, I just want to give the people something to see.
Yeah, because a lot of people are embarrassed where they are right now.
I don't want you to be embarrassed. I want you to replace that word embarrassed with aware, right? So it's not about you being embarrassed about where you are. It is about you raising awareness about where you are so that you can then take action. And so we're going to remove that word. Don't be embarrassed, child. We don't see it all. We've been here. He's been doing this over 30 years. I've been doing it over 20 years. And we see a lot.
Oh, we don't see everything.
So remove that word embarrassed. And as you're gathering the data and you're making that call and you're going to our website and like, oh my gosh, that little feeling comes up, girl, they going to judge you. Then silence it and say, I don't have to be embarrassed. I'm gaining awareness. And when I gain awareness, then I can take action. And when I take action, I can create a plan that changes my life and gets me to where I want to be. So I won't be eating beanies and weenies in 30 years. All right. So now we got to go.
We got Saturday.
Oh, what happened to my thing? Oh, Saturday at 9 a.m. in the AM, the Understanding Money show will kick off. They'll be live at 9 a.m. in the AM. We will be back next Wednesday. Are you in town? Next Wednesday, or you leave next Thursday?
I leave next Thursday. I'm out of town next Thursday.
So we'll be back next Wednesday for transitions. And until then, stay safe.
Peace.
Peace.